Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about how election symbols are allocated by the Election Commission. So from the title itself, you can understand that the election symbols in India are allocated by Election Commission of India. Just remember this point. It is not the court or any political party which allocate the symbol, but the symbol that you see at the ballot box or in the EVM machine, those symbols are actually what has been decided by the Election Commission of India. Just remember this point. Now let's move forward and try to understand what is the mechanism, how these elections are how these symbols are allocated, and what are its significance. So let's move. So, in a vast and diverse country like India, where several nondescript and small political parties try out their luck in state election, symbols are crucial campaigning tools to connect with the voters. So, this is the major significance why symbols are important. So you have to understand that a lot of political parties, so just take an example of Bihar election which is going to be conducted very soon. There are many parties, like apart from the parties which are like recognized, there are many unrecognized parties which are going to try their luck in the election. So in such a scenario, it becomes very important that certain symbols are allocated so that they can reach out to masses. Like you must have very frequently heard that term, like you have to put a vote against the Kamal, like Kamal pe chhap lagao, and all these things you might have heard like going into the election campaign. So that signifies that it is very important that the election symbols are there for various political parties. So that is one of the reason why we have election symbols. Now, as per election symbols, Reservation and Allotment Amendment Order 2017. So this is something, just remember, election symbol, reservation and allotment order was there, and then it got amended in 2017, where the party symbols are either reserved or free. So they have now kind of categorized that there will be a reserved symbol which will be reserved for the recognized party, and then there will be free symbols which will like shuffle according to the exigency of the election. So this is the major thing. Now just try to understand the scope of these symbols. So we have around 8 national parties and 64 state parties across the country. Now these, like, so if you see 64 plus 8, these are your reserved symbol. So they nobody could now claim for a lotus or a hand or even cycle. So these kind of symbols cannot be claimed by any other political party. But apart from that, Election Commission has a pool of nearly 200 free symbols. So from the pool of 200 free symbols, Election Commission could allocate a single to any other political party which is not recognized yet. So these are allocated to thousands of unrecognized regional parties that pop up before elections. So these are not like permanent parties or who have major what you can say influence over the area, but these come up whenever there is an election, because like participation in election is also one of the things which is guaranteed under the constitution. So anyone, like apart from the the allowed to vote, right to vote, which is in our constitution, the constitution also says that any candidate could also be a could fight for election given he fulfill the certain eligibility criteria. So hence there are a lot of political parties which pop up during the time of election. So Election Commission has around 200 free symbols to be allocated from that pool. According to Election Commission, there are 2,538 unrecognized parties in India. So just see the number. So more than 2,500, like 2,500 से ज़्यादा unrecognized parties हैं इंडिया में. For example, if a party recognized in a particular state contests an election in another state, it can reserve the symbol being used by it, provided the symbol is not being used or bears resemblance to that of any other party. Now this is something which you can understand, that certain state parties would be recognized within their state, and if they want to extend their influence, and if they want to contest election in other state also, they can use the same symbol which they are using in the present state, but it should not bear any resemblance, or it should not be used by the party which is reserved, using the reserved symbol over there. So for an example, what happened, Shiv Sena tried to like fight the election in Bihar with the same bow and arrow. So they were using the bow and arrow. But what happened? It is very similar to the JDU, the one which is already contesting election. So it was very similar to that. Hence, election commission rejected their request. So such kind of things happen. So they can use their reserved symbol in other state also, provided that it should not come from the fact that they are utilizing it for the purpose of with the same kind of symbol which is already reserved in that state. So these are certain criteria. Now let's try to see the whole process, how symbols are allocated. So the first order, we see that election symbol allotment and reservation, that order which got amended in 2017, it was first promulgated in 1968. So it is like after few election, like the first general election in India happened in 1951. So after few iteration in 1968, the such kind of order came into place. It mandates the election commission to provide for the specification, reservation, choice and allotment of symbols at parliamentary and assembly election for the recognition of political parties. Now, just so you know, Election Commission of India, which takes care of the election at union as well as at state level. So just remember, State Election Commission is responsible for local government election. So hence the symbols for state assemblies also will be allocated by the Election Commission of India only. So as per the guideline, to get a symbol allocated, a party or a candidate has to provide a list of 3 symbols from Election Commission free symbol list at the time of filing nomination paper. Now just understand, when you are trying to file for nomination paper, we have a pool of like 200 free election symbol which Election Commission will provide you with the list. You have to pick the 3 which you choose, like okay, any of these will work, or you can set up the priority as well. So you need to pick up 3 symbols from them and submit it when you are filing your nomination paper. So this is the procedure. Among them, one symbol is allocated to the party candidate on the first come first service basis. So that is also like 200 symbols are there, whoever files the nomination paper first along with their requirement will get the better benefit, and it's first come first service. Whoever filed the nomination first will get their first preference. So this is how the system works. When a recognized political party splits, Election Commission takes the decision on assigning the symbol. Now this is also a very interesting fact, that whenever a political party is split, the election symbol also become a point of contention, and in that case the decision of Election Commission is again final, and it is the body or authority which decide that which faction of the splitted political party will get the election symbol. For an example, the Samajwadi Party split, where there was a split between the Mulayam Singh and Akhilesh Yadav, it was decided by Election Commission of India that the bicycle symbol, which is like the one which is associated with Samajwadi Party, would be allocated to Akhilesh Yadav faction. So this is some kind of thing which Election Commission decided. Similar thing happened in the case of AIDMK after the death of Jayalalitha. There was also a fight between different faction within there, and again the ECI is the one which took the decision to decide the political symbol or the political election symbol to the one's faction. So this is the whole idea how symbols are allocated. Now let's move forward and try to see, we have discussed about recognized and unrecognized party. What is basically recognized and unrecognized party? So as per Election Commission, a political party shall be eligible to be recognized as a national party. So there are few conditions after which it could be considered as a recognized national party. First condition is it should at least secure 6% of the valid vote in an assembly or Lok Sabha general election in any of the 4 states, or won at least 4 seats in Lok Sabha general election from any state or states. So this is the first condition, that at least 6% of valid vote should be there either in the assembly election or in Lok Sabha general election in any 4 or more states. So this is the major criteria, at least 6% vote in 4 or more states. Then win at least 2% of the total Lok Sabha seats in Lok Sabha general election, and these seats have to be won from at least 3 states. So at least like we have a strength of 550, like present 545. So out of that, 2% seat need to be won by them, and these 2% should not come from a single state but at least 3 states. So this is again next criteria for a political party to be recognized as national party. Then finally, it is to be a state party in at least 4 states. So it could be a state party in 4 states. So any of these criteria, if fulfilled, that particular party could be considered as a national party. So this is how a national party get its recognition by Election Commission of India. Now there are also certain conditions to be recognized as a state party. What are those? At least 6% valid vote and win at least 2 seats in assembly general election. So whenever there is a state legislative assembly election, state election, in that case at least 6% vote, valid vote, as well as 2 seats. So this is end condition, like 6% valid vote plus 2 seat. That is the criteria. Then next is 6% valid vote and at least 1 seat in Lok Sabha general election. So again, it's like even if it is not 2 seat, at least 1 seat should be there in Lok Sabha general election. So in Lok Sabha general election, it should be at least 1 seat. So they should be having 6% valid vote in the general election, as well as they won 1 Lok Sabha seat. Then win at least 3% of the seats or at least 3 seats, whichever is more in general assembly election. So again, if you are winning around 3% of seat, you could be recognized as a state party. Then win at least one of every 25 seats from a state in Lok Sabha general election. So if, like for an example, Lok Sabha seats from various states are also there, as per constituency there are various seats which are there in Lok Sabha. So if for every 25 seat, if a particular party is winning 1 seat, then again it could be considered as a state party. And finally, at least 8% of total valid vote. So if it is able to secure 8% of valid vote in assembly election or Lok Sabha general election, it could be recognized as state party. So these are the few criteria. In your Lakshmikant, this particular thing is mentioned. I would advise that you go through it. You don't have to understand all the political things, but Election Commission of India, the features, how political parties are recognized, the recognition system, as well as how symbols are given. So these particular things are important from your polity perspective. So I hope you have understood this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.